Ketchup and mayonnaise. These sauces can give any meal, even a basic one, a fantastic taste. They accompany both dinner in a restaurant and a quick fast food snack. But do we really know what we add to our sandwiches and salads? Why are apples added as an ingredient of tomato sauces? And why isn't there a single tomato in the ketchup production plant? Today, Misha Maslov is going to the plant where liquid seasonings are produced, and he's going to get answers to all the questions. This episode is in some way a summary because we're going to tell you what can be added to almost any dish. We are at the sauces production plant, and for now, they look like this. The warehouse premises of the plant impresses with the size. It could accommodate a whole residential area. Here they store everything that's necessary for producing sauces. The shelves are full of liquid and dry ingredients up to the ceiling. It's only tomatoes that you can't see here. Aren't they the basis for the most popular sauce in the world? Ketchup? Just a minute, but ketchup is made from tomatoes, isn't it? And where are the tomatoes?
Well, this, in fact, is the main misconception, that ketchup is made from tomatoes. In reality, the main ingredient for ketchup production is tomato paste. Look, yes, you may.
Yeah?
See where it's kept?
Tomato paste.
Yes, and tomato paste is made from tomatoes, but these are separate, very large production plants. And these plants are usually located where tomatoes are growing. This is a seasonal production and only lasts 3 months. So in those 3 months, the producers have to make enough tomato paste to last a year until the next season begins.
So you mean that one Krasnodar region isn't enough for this task?
Not enough, of course.
Tomato paste is delivered to the plant in sealed bags. They're opened without a person participating. The bag goes between rotating shafts. Due to this, tomato mass is squeezed out into the container. And from a technological point of view, what decision was made to squeeze everything up to the last drop out of a bag?
Well, here are these special shafts.
Yes, I'm talking about them.
Specially designed to let the bag pass between them, and all tomato paste, literally to the last drop, stays in the reservoir.
Tomato paste is a concentrate of tomatoes. There is nothing in it except tomatoes.
Tomato having 5% of dry substances boils down 5 times and you get 25%. You get out boiled tomato mass because tomato skin is removed. Seeds are removed from the tomato mass by filtering, and tomato paste should not have any seeds, skin, and inclusions, just homogeneous, thick mass.
In Europe, ketchup appeared for the first time in 1700. It was brought there by sailors from Malaysia. The overseas sauce was called Ketchup. Moreover, it was completely different from the modern ketchup, to be honest. The sauce didn't consist of tomatoes, but of salted fish and spices instead. The seasoning didn't become especially popular with the European public, though everything changed a century later. The English chef Richard Brigg, for the sake of an experiment, replaced the fish with tomatoes. Therefore, the name remained the same, while the main ingredient changed. Since then, ketchup has become a favorite sauce on all continents. It was the favorite sauce of the writer Charles Dickens, who called ketchup an exquisite seasoning, turning simply delicious food into the food of gods. Tomato paste, before turning into ketchup, goes into this white room, the laboratory of microbiology. Here, each batch is checked for bacteria that can harm consumers' health and affect the quality of the final product adversely.
The raw material is tomato paste, which ketchup is, in fact, made of. So we are going to study it for general microbial content, for E. coli bacteria, for yeast and mold, and for lactic acid microorganisms.
Samples of the paste are placed in solutions of nutrient media that are favorable for bacterial growth. If there are unwanted microorganisms contained in the product, after a few days, their colonies will multiply and you'll be able to see them with the naked eye.
So we have standards, and there's a special standard for each raw material. If we count the colonies, and if we find that there are within these norms, then everything is okay. This is within the norm. And if not, then this material is rejected and sent to the supplier.
Coming up next, what speed does ketchup travel? Why are apples added as ingredients of tomato sauces? And what type of ketchup production prohibits the use of food additives? Tomato paste begins turning into ketchup after additional ingredients are added to it. Good afternoon.
Hello.
I'm Misha.
Dennis.
I'd really like to help you, but I don't know what you are doing yet. Tell me about it, okay?
Here we weigh dry ingredients. You can try to weigh them.
It'd be great.
Would you like to?
Yes, I'd be happy to, of course.
So first you need gloves,
Yeah,
a respirator.
hands and a respirator. That is, dry mixtures, they are so thin.
Yes.
You need to protect your lungs.
Yes, yes, yes.
These white powders, salt, starch, and sweetener, are the main dry ingredients to produce classic ketchup. First, we need to weigh salt.
So let's weigh salt. Let's try. We must weigh 5, 6, 7.
Is that pounds?
Yes.
Where? Is that how I open it?
Exactly. Just cut along.
Okay, almost there. 9. How much should there be?
5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Here it is necessary to take a little out. Accuracy is the main thing. A little bit more?
Does it go back here?
Yes.
The recipe includes a sweetener, saccharin. It is labeled as E954. This additive is many times sweeter than sugar and has a lower calorie value. About 20 kilograms are added into 2 tons of the product. Another white powder, which is a must for ketchup, is starch. Okay, and why do we even need it? Starch. Let's together.
Starch is added to dry ingredients to make it thicker. It's like it absorbs water.
To give texture, right?
Yes.
It's probably necessary.
To make it thicker.
And we need 60 of starch, don't we?
Yes.
It's not allowed to add starch in all kinds of ketchup. Depending on the ingredients, there are 3 categories of this sauce. By law, the recipe for extra category should include the minimum ingredients: tomato paste, at least 40% of tomato paste, salt, sugar, and spices. But the cost of producing this sauce, and consequently the price of the final product, are quite high. There are other, more budget-friendly types of ketchup: high, first, and second categories. They differ in the number of admissible additives.
To get a budget-friendly product, you need to minimize the amount of tomato paste. But for the product to be at least, well, visually similar, to taste and have some consumer characteristics making it look like tomato sauce. Therefore, part of tomato paste is substituted by starches.
The quality indicator of ketchup product is how thick it is. This ketchup should not flow. It lazily drips down sides of a bottle. It is estimated that the ketchup with reference texture flows out of a bottle at a speed of 164 feet per hour. For comparison, the average speed of the slowest Galapagos turtle is 0.5 miles per hour. By the way, it was only in the mid-1980s when they started to produce ketchup in plastic bottles. And this, I must say, solved the problems ketchup fans had due to its speed. How much tomato paste is there in ketchup? That's what we decided to determine in the laboratory. For our study, we took 3 samples of ketchup of different categories.
We're taking a glass, placing it on a scale, and determining how much the product weighs. Now we're adding a little water.
The content of tomato paste is determined by the amount of carbohydrates the product contains. Scientists call these substances soluble dry substances.
A refractometer is an optical device that measures the refractive index of a liquid. It is equipped with a special scale calibrated in units of the refractive index. Thus, knowing the refractive index using special tables, we calculate and ascertain the values of the mass fraction of the soluble solids in the product.
The soluble solids content in the first and second samples is small, 25 and 30% respectively. The third sample contains the highest amount of tomato mass, 41%.
This indicates that to produce the tomato ketchup, they used fresh tomatoes, and the volume of this ingredient is quite high.
The less tomato paste there is in ketchup, the more ingredients there are to replace it. Vegetable and even fruit purees are added to the sauces. One of the most common ingredients is apples.
If apple puree is added, it does not mean that the main ingredient is apple puree. No, this is just the apple puree goes as a flavoring because apple puree contains and gives such texture, yes, fairly thick texture to the product. Moreover, in apple puree there are sugars, there are organic acids, and I believe that it is much better to get acidity, yes, from apple puree rather than from chemical, well, citric or acetic acid. Therefore, apple puree is in no way, if it does not replace the tomato product, but is just an addition, it is not in any, not in full, in no way worsens the product.
Coming up next, what sauce competes in popularity with ketchup? How did English conquerors contribute to the appearance of mayonnaise? And can you eat ketchup with spoons? If we speak about the popularity of sauces, it is only mayonnaise that can, perhaps, compete with ketchup. And in some countries, they love it even more than ketchup. For example, in Holland, Belgium, and France, most visitors to fast food restaurants like their French fries with mayonnaise. By the way, this sauce was invented in the middle of the 18th century in the French city of Mayonnaise. Hence the name. During the 7 Years' War, when the English occupied the French lands, the troops of the Duke of Richelieu had a problem with food supply. All the products there were only vegetable oil, eggs, and lemons left. The cook hopelessly decided to mix these ingredients, which resulted in an unusually tasty sauce. The main ingredients of mayonnaise have not changed for centuries.
Here we have one of the main ingredients of mayonnaise and sauces. It's egg yolk. It comes from the egg yolk plant and requires special storage conditions, so it is protected by such special thermal insulation materials. A cover that allows keeping the temperature of the egg yolk at the level of no higher than 4 degrees Celsius after delivering from the refrigerator.
Mayonnaise production is like ketchup production. All processes take place in closed containers and pipelines.
In principle, the main stages are all the same. It's only that in mayonnaise production, the production of mayonnaise sauces, we prepare an emulsion, and this is already a virtually ready product.
An emulsion is liquid, in which there is a suspension of some substances, isn't it?
It is a mixture of fat and water.
Mayonnaise, in addition to egg yolks and vegetable oil, contains starch, vinegar, sugar, salt. Various additives are admissible, flavoring agents, colorants, and preservatives. But for now, let's go back to ketchup production.
We've weighed.
Yes.
Now we're taking dry ingredients to the hopper, taking a hydraulic trolley.
I was thinking right now, starch. The plant produces ketchup of the first category, which, in contrast to the category extra, can contain starch. Perfect parking. Right here, there is a specially marked place. And here, the sequence is important. Starch, salt.
It is important salt always goes first because it goes down easier and it won't get stuck in the hopper.
The starch, salt, and sugar, which we weighed earlier, get into the tomato paste. In addition to them, the classic recipe for ketchup includes spices, cinnamon, and pepper.
Are we closing it?
Yes.
All of the ingredients get into the tank KPT1, where they are dosed out of.
Is it right beneath us?
Yes, beneath us. They are mixed with tomato paste, syrup, vinegar, with all the liquid ingredients.
Yeah, that's all.
After that, you get a raw ketchup phase.
Coming up next in the program Additives, what diseases were patients treated for with ketchup in the 19th century? Why do sauces without added preservatives have longer expiry periods? And how many kinds of pepper are added to the sauce? Ketchup hasn't always been a sauce. In the early 19th century, it was used as a medicine and sold in pharmacies. This tomato medicine was prescribed for stomach pain. That sounds a little strange. Doctors of that time were guided by the fact that the ketchup includes a substance, lycopene, which is responsible for the red color of tomatoes and affects the work of the digestive system favorably. I wonder whether the prescriptions included, in addition to ketchup, sausages and pasta. Modern manufacturers of ketchup don't always stick to the classic recipe. On supermarket shelves, you can find a variety of flavors. It is various spices and seasonings added to the prepared base for ketchup that are responsible for the flavors.
We're opening.
What is there? Well, now the content looks as if there are some accidents at the production facility.
Well, it's only for now because it's still raw, not cooked.
I see. Okay.
So we put the grate here, and through the grate, we pour spices.
Additional ingredients are mostly dried vegetables and extracts. Their combinations give ketchup different flavor. Well, can I start with parsley?
Yes, do it. That's it. Next goes the pepper. Oh.
All right, pepper.
Well, now, chili extract. One pack of each spice.
That's, I think, a very hot thing, isn't it?
Yes, one piece.
Well, that's it.
Well, next, let's take the pink Brazilian pepper. Okay, now let's add some chili pepper. We're closing it.
The red button start. We should press it.
That's it. It has started mixing.
Super. Coloring and flavoring agents cannot be part of the category extra ketchup. Moreover, you don't need these additives for a sauce with high tomato content, since tomatoes give the ketchup the desired color and aroma. When there is less than 40% of tomato paste, manufacturers have to use fragrances and pigments. In low-cost sauce categories, the most commonly used additives are the ones received by chemical means.
Well, we know, yes, let's say that in pepper the main aromatic substance is piperine. Yes, piperine can be created, be reconstructed, well, to reconstruct the chemical formula, yes, to recreate and use not the natural spice, but use, well, chemical ones. But this is the same as comparing women's milk and human milk substitute, because they are identical, but with a mother's milk the child gets a lot more of all the substances and components which he needs directly, and you won't reconstruct it in any substitute. Yes, you take from pepper, but say even if you take the flavor of pepper and take one piperine, but in pepper it's basic, but there are 20, 30 and maybe 50 of them there. And these 50 will never be reconstructed in a flavoring agent.
After all the ingredients have been added to the tomato paste, the mixture for the future ketchup is finally ready. The cooking process can start. It is completely closed. This is necessary to prevent bacteria from entering the product, which will affect the quality.
This is the zone where the main technological stages of ketchup production take place. And earlier you've seen how different mixtures are mixed, and these are perhaps the only open places where you can see the intermediate stages of ketchup production.
Moreover, I took an active part in this.
Yes, quite right.
These units are where the most important processes take place, thanks to which the raw mixture turns into ketchup. Excess air is removed from the base for the sauce, which is called deaeration. Then homogenization is passing through the mixture through a narrow opening under high pressure. This is necessary to ensure the desired texture. And pasteurization is heating the would-be ketchup to high temperatures.
Pasteurization is, of course, the main stage ensuring the microbiological stability of ketchup.
Pasteurization is a process affecting the shelf life of ketchup. Oddly enough, the sauces with the highest content of tomato paste and without preservatives have the longest shelf life.
Ketchup can be produced in different ways, using different technologies. One of the best known and common technologies is cooking. That is, ketchup is processed, subjected to heat treatment, and thanks to this, ketchup can be stored for a long time. And if you see on the label that the shelf life isn't very long, that is about 6 months, then most likely it means that the ketchup is made with preservatives. That is, using the so-called cold technology, when it isn't heated up to a sufficient temperature. The main preservative that is used is sorbic acid, or its salts. And sorbic acid is active for half a year in the product. Therefore, you'll never set an expiry date for a day further than half a year. It just cannot stand it longer than that.
So, Misha Maslov has spent the whole day watching how his favorite sauce, ketchup, is cooked. He hasn't tried the final product, though. It's time for a tasting room. Anastasia, well, I see we have almost everything ready for an organoleptic test. Yes, and I say almost because there are no sausages, cutlets, pasta. Well, all that which sauces are usually eaten with.
This, of course, in an ideal scenario, that would be fine, but the specialist on the line who carries out this analysis, unfortunately, doesn't have a piece of meat or sausage on him. That's it. And so we are going to taste it as is, relying on your receptors.
Let's taste it. Well, yes, it's delicious ketchup. We should compare it.
Yes, it's necessary to compare it with a reference standard, and we have a standard sample approved by all departments.
Well, that is, do I understand right that the essence of this test only to compare it with the reference sample?
Well...
And make sure, well, it's as like as possible.
Yes, it should be as close as possible. You can smell the herbs, can't you?
The herbs are so distinct, like in the previous sample. Yes, absolutely. It seems to me...
Well, everything is clear, yes.
In ice skating, they would say, all judges give 6 points.
Yes, if all the indicators, including microbiology, physical chemistry, organoleptic, are at the same level, with the reference standard, accordingly it goes further into retailing onto the shelves to the consumer.
The shift is finished. The produced ketchup is packed and sent to warehouses, and our presenter is still hungry. Well, here it is, the final product. Moreover, I haven't eaten anything for the whole day, but something tells me that this will be the first production which I will leave hungry, because ketchup, here it is. I didn't take any spaghetti or pizza with me. Therefore, well...